All right, well, let's officially go ahead and get started. And I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar. It is called How to Generate 3% per month with one option trade per week. And I'm really excited that you're here because this webinar is going to teach you my bread and butter trade that I use to generate income. And this is a trade that I place multiple times a week personally. And more importantly, it's something I do with my clients. So I actually run a coaching group where the exact same thing that you're going to see tonight is something I do weekly with my account live, and I just kind of show how it works every week. So today, I'm going to show you how you can just use 15 minutes a day. And in that 15 minutes, you can turn that into consistent monthly paychecks. And it doesn't matter what the market does. So stay with me because you're going to learn something today that could really transform your financial future, just like it has for me and hundreds of my students. So I do want to ask a quick question before we get started, and I want to get a kind of feel for where you are. Now, keep in mind, the session today is live. Today is July 28th. It's 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So interact with me in the chat. Now, question I have for you is this. In the chat box, I want you to give me a number, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And here's what I'm asking. How would you describe your current income system in today's market? Type a 1 if you don't really have any. It's non-existent. So in other words, you don't have a way that generates consistent income. Type number 2 if it's just trickling in, but nowhere near consistent enough. Type 3 if you have some, but it's inconsistent and you really would like some more. And then type in a number 4 if it's a steady flow. You got multiple income streams that you can turn on or off when needed and really provide all the extra money that you need. So again, in the chat, 1, 2, 3, or 4 to kind of let me know where you are in the grand scheme of income trading. All right. So David, you were first, got 2, and Gil's at a 2, or 3, sorry. Willis is at a 2, Jim 3. I'm not going to read all of them because they fly by. It's really, really hard. Wing, Pradeep, you see you guys are at 4. I love it. George 2, Fayez are at 3, Rick 2. So again, I see lots of 2s and 3s, and that's good. If you're a 1, 2, or 3, you're in the right spot. There's no doubt about that. Now, even if you're a 4, I still think you're going to learn how to increase your existing income flow and do it with a lot less risk and more importantly, less time spent. So in today's webinar, you're going to see how you could begin making a paycheck averaging about 3% per month and more. And you got to keep in mind, this is something that can be done regardless of market direction. You can do it with little to no prior experience with options. It's safer than just going out there buying or selling stocks. And it's something that you can implement quickly. Now, over the past 9 years, this system has averaged 3% per month. And I told you guys I place trades live with my clients. That's what I'm basing that on. But more importantly, it's transformed the lives of retirees, parents, professionals, anybody looking to secure their financial future without risking it all. So do me a favor, type a yes in the chat if you'd like to learn how you could trade for 15 minutes a day and make that consistent income even if you're wrong about market direction. All right, again, yes, 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 I love it. That's what we're here for. All right, now if I were in your shoes, I'd be skeptical and I'd want some proof. Because I see those annoying, overhyped advertisements of the guys standing next to their fancy cars, flying in their private jet. I'm not like that. I drive a Tesla. I'm not even I don't even have a fancy car. But I like to let the results stand for themselves. And I let you decide. I've taught this technique to clients for almost 10 years now here at VectorVest, and many of them were kind enough to share their story with you. I can't possibly read them all today, but in today's webinar, we're gonna talk about a few of them and what they did to get their results. And again, you can see all these people. These are people that took the class. These are people that are getting those results. We're gonna talk about folks like Mike, who made 12 grand and felt like he had the keys to a cash register. Bruce, who went from 100 to 452,000 3.5 years and no longer has those sleepless nights. John, who grew his IRA by 112% by spending no more than 15 minutes a day. So again, this is based off of real stories. Okay, real clients who are doing this. One of my recent students sent me this email and said, "Hey Ron, just wanted to send a quick email to thank you and your team for the SPX paycheck course back in September. I've been using this method and tracking my performance and thought you'd like to see the results. I entered my first 35 Delta trade on September 21st with only 5,000 in my margin account. Now less than 3 months later, I'm already up 24.9%. Thanks again. I'll be teaching this method to my retired in-laws to help them grow their account in retirement." Now, I love hearing that. And there's a lesson here for you too. You don't need to dedicate 100 grand to this. You can start small while you learn and practice. It builds up very, very quickly. If you start with 5 grand and you average 3% per month, compounded over 15 years, that puts you over $1 million. Now, obviously, if you started with a little bit more, you'd be near like 25,000, you'd be near a million after 10 years. You're ultimately looking at some serious money. And if you have even more, you'd get there a lot faster. Now, my name is Ron Wheeler, and I'm the option income coach here at VectorVest. I've been trading now for 28 years, almost 30 years. I started in 1997. And when I started, I was a commodities trader, day trading. And for the first couple of years, I had mostly losses. In fact, I lost a couple of my trading accounts. And the reason I was losing was because, like most investors, I was trading in a way that required me to be right to make money. If I bought something, it had to go up. If I sold something, it had to go down. The bottom line is, if I wasn't right, I'd lose money. And then on top of that, you got to manage the profits and the risk. It doesn't matter if you're right 8 out of 10 times if you're losing 10 times more than you win. Being a successful trader and investor is a balancing act here, right? Well, I was never really into options. I did commodities, I dabbled with stocks, but options really didn't interest me because I thought they were kind of like, you know, we'll talk about that as we go in when we talk about the mistakes that options traders make, because I made a lot of those. But we had a client come to our office who really was a hedge fund trader, and he was an institutional options trader. And he kind of showed us how they use options at the institutional level to trade and make money. A long story short here, he showed me how to use options so that even if I was wrong with my analysis, I could still make money. He also showed me that options could be used in a way to control your risk. He showed me how to stack probability, make money even when I'm wrong, control my risk right up front. I can't lose more than a certain amount. Think of the pressure that takes off you. Risk is controlled right off the bat. Okay? You don't even have to be right to make money. That's the beauty of being an options trader when you do it right. And that's what we're here about tonight. We're here to learn how to do it right. So here's how we laid out tonight's webinar. The first part of the webinar is going to show you the strategic shift that's necessary to generate consistent income. After that, I'll show you the 3 big mistakes you need to avoid. In fact, by knowing what the mistakes are and that thousands of other investors will inevitably make them, you'll be in a prime position to profit. We'll talk about things like strike prices and expiration dates and how to pick them correctly. Then in the third section, I'll show you how to set up your income trades with very low risk. Type yes in the chat if you've been told that selling options was risky. Well, I'm going to show you how to do it the right way so that there's even lower risk than buying a stock. And then I'll lay out the 6-step paycheck system we follow here at VectorVest to generate income. And this is different than what others teach you out there. So I'm going to walk you through it today. Now, throughout the section, I'm going to mix in some case studies of our clients who are doing this. And you might find that one of them is just like you. Now, I do feel there's a ton of great information in today's webinar, so it benefits you to stay to the end. And if you do, I put together a little checklist to help you plan out your trades. A PDF, I'll put it right in the handout section, go to webinar, I'll drop it right in there. So you can click on it, print it out. But remind me when we get to the Q&A section because a lot of times I pretty much just forget after speaking for an hour. Also, I love to interact during the webinar because we get so much more out of it. Now, you guys have been great so far using the chat box, and there's going to be several times throughout tonight's webinar where I'm going to ask you questions. So let's interact back and forth. I've also got several members of the team with me here today. Like I said, it's a live webinar, so if you have a question, now's the time. Type it in the chat. If I don't see it, my team will help you out. And now keep in mind, there's only so much we can cover in an hour. So throughout the session, I'll be mentioning some things you can do after the webinar if you do want to continue your education and start implementing this quicker. But we're going to talk about that more at the end, but I guarantee this is going to be 1 hour of packed information. So if you're good with that and you're ready, just type a yes in the chat box for me. All right, just wanted to make sure you're all still paying attention. Lots of yeses there. Now, the first thing you need to know to generate income with options, it's a bit of a strategic mindset shift here. You're either going to continue being like a gambler where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Why? Because being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income. It allows you to win even when you're wrong. Now, why do you want to be the casino in this analogy or the house? It's number one, the house always wins. Number two, they always win because they control and stack probability in its favor. The options paycheck system is built around you stacking the odds massively in your favor. So make a note of this. In order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to stack probability in your favor. And that first step is that shift from being the buyer of options to being the seller. So let me explain. Bruce is a great example of shifting from gambling on stocks to being the casino and controlling and stacking probability in his favor. He said prior to working with us, he had mainly taken stock tips from brokers. Bruce focused on our SPX income system, which is our most basic trading system. As he said, he's not the most technical person in the world. But in the time he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from 100 to 497,000 in 3.5 years. He said he's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the options paycheck system. The whole system, he said, takes him around 15 minutes a day. So let me show you how this works. This is an example of a typical trade you've been taught to make. You find a stock you like, you think it's going to go up, so you can either buy shares of it or you buy a call. Now, why do you buy a call option? Well, when you started learning options, it's what you were taught to do, right? Buying a call is essentially the equivalent of buying the stock. If the stock goes up and you buy a call, they go up in value and you make money, right? But what ends up happening a lot of times? Either the stock doesn't go up or it doesn't go up enough and the call you just bought ends up expiring worthless. Has that ever happened to you? Well, I told you I didn't like options, right? This is one of the things that happened to me a lot. Well, what's the problem causing you to lose? A lot of people feel maybe they picked simply the wrong stock, or maybe it was the wrong strike price or the wrong expiration. But let's talk about the real problem. If you've been losing money or had more losers and winners with other systems, it's not necessarily your fault. It's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option, but as a buyer, the probabilities are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing and buying and losing and buying and losing. Our options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You need to be a seller and not a buyer. That's how you get ahead of everyone else. This is how you put probability on your side. This is how you win, even if you're wrong. So let's take a closer look at selling options. As a buyer, a typical trade gives you a 50-50 chance to be a winner because when you buy, the only way you make money is if the stock moves in your direction. But now you're going to have a seller's mentality. So instead of hoping a stock goes up, as a seller, you're going to strategically set up your trade using probability because probability will tell you where the stock is not likely to go. So instead of just needing the stock to go in your direction, you can pick a price which basically says, as long as it doesn't go down to here, I can still make money. Now think about that. You pick a price down here, right? The stock's at 204 bucks roughly. You pick a price at 195. As long as it stays above that, you win. So if it goes up, you make money. If it goes sideways now, you make money. It can even come down a little bit and you still make money. Right from the very start, probability is in your favor. And in some trades, we can even increase that probability even more. You simply choose a lower price. That's going to give you a bigger area where you can be right. Now, we do a lot of trades that start off with a 70% chance of success. You can only do this as an option seller. And again, the whole idea here is look at this price where the stock is. Then look at this green. It goes up, you win. Sideways, you win. Even comes down. As long as it stays in that area right here, in here, you're going to win. You can only do that as an option seller. As a seller, you're putting the probability of success in your favor, and that's the definition of an income trade. An income trade is one where you can make money even if you're wrong on direction. Now, Bruce, he continues to trade with me every week. In fact, he was in my class this morning, my coaching class. He even suggested a trade to me. He posted in our private Facebook group and said, another day trading on the beach, got my eyes on AMC and a cold beer. Life's good. Thank you, VectorVest and Ron, for giving us the tools to do what we do from anywhere. That's a great picture of being financially free. Now, Mike was someone who dabbled with options, but said he lost on each of his trades. Have you ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating that is to lose on each of your trades? Eventually, he just stopped. He gave up. He tried to go back and learn more about options, but he said he never felt comfortable he knew what he was doing. He didn't have any set criteria, essentially. So we worked together. I taught him the options paycheck system of being an option seller, and he said he became like an income machine. After he learned the system, he went out and said he had 17 out of 19 winning trades with a profit of over $12,000 in 4 months. The key lesson here is he made that shift from buyer or gambler to seller or the house, and that turned his situation around. He was even so proud of his success, he gave me a spreadsheet of his trades. I want you to take a look at these. A couple things to point out. Number one, look at the profit column. A lot more profits than losses, okay? That's a typical thing. Now, notice the work days to close 7 days, 5 days, even a short one at 2 and 3 and 2, 6 days, 11 days. Keep in mind, I say you could do this in 15 minutes a day. This is not day trading. These are trades that typically take about 7 to 10 days to complete. Okay, he's pulling in about $1,000 every 7 to 10 days. Now, if you're a beginner like Mike is to this, a lot of our students begin by just trading the SPX. That's the index that tracks the S&P 500. It involves one trade per week and has averaged 2.3% per month over the last 8 years. It's up about 18% this year so far. You're not just learning how to trade options. You're creating a future where your income grows without adding hours to your day. Imagine turning that financial stress into confidence, knowing your money's working harder than ever, even when you're not doing it. You're not looking for one big home run trade to become a millionaire overnight. We're growing your account steadily each year. And that's really one of our key takeaways. We're not looking for the home runs. They look good, but singles are what win the games. These singles are what will enable you to never run out of money and to be able to do the things that you want to do. Now, one of my jobs as your coach today, it's to help you make a few great decisions. And that first shift to generate income with options is to move from being a hopeful gambler to where you implement a system of high probability selling. I'm not saying you need to be a full-time options trader. You're still going to do some stock trading, but mix in some trades where you sell options for income. Now in the chat, I want you to type in gambler if you want to continue taking those low probability trades, or type the word seller if you think it makes more sense to trade with high probability. Listen, every once in a while, you may do a trade where you gamble with a little bit of your money, but I'm talking about what do you think is better to do for an income system? So in the chat, type gambler or seller. Let me know your choice. Speaking of gambling, I gambled a little bit tonight, by the way. I gamble on earnings announcements. I'm actually kind of interesting. Celestia or Celesta something had earnings tonight. Yes. All right, good. I gambled that CLS would have good earnings, and they're up $17 tonight. All right, little real-time trading results, right? All right, lots of sellers. Seller, Pradeep, George, Bill, Rick, David, Ron. Yeah, lucky guy. Well, my thing is that 80% of companies have had good earnings. 70% of companies go up after earnings. I'm just playing the odds. That's all. Just playing the odds. All right. So again, you see my prom. Now, by the way, that's an example of gambling, right? I don't put my entire capital against something like that. I risk like $150. You know what I mean? But that's the kind of thing that you do to gamble. You don't put an income system behind it. I always used to say this. I play the Powerball every now and then, or the Mega Millions when it's a really big jackpot. I throw like $5 or $10 at it, right? But I'm not going to switch my 401k to investing in the Powerball. It's okay to gamble occasionally, but that's not what we do with all of our money. Okay? So, anyway, with that aside, now let's move on to section number 2. You've seen that by simply flipping from being the buyer to being the seller, you can stack the odds significantly in your favor. You need to know how to sell options correctly, though, because there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. So let's start talking about how to do it the right way. To stack the odds even further in your favor, you need to understand and capitalize on the 3 most common buyer's mistakes that people make. Basically, you'll avoid making these mistakes and you're going to do the opposite. So the first mistake that buyers make is they choose unrealistic strike prices. They choose strike prices that are so far away, the stock has no chance of hitting it. So this is an example. Here's a stock. It's about $216, $217 a share. What a lot of option buyers do is they buy calls because they think the stock is going to go up, but they buy the calls way above the current stock price. Like they buy it at $230. There's a very small chance that the stock's going to go to 230. It hasn't been at 230 all year. right? So why do they buy an option where the stock has to go up 15, 16, $17 a share before you can make money? It's because most buyers treat options like lottery tickets. It may only cost them $100. Most of the time, they end up losing. Okay? These people are like the gamblers. And since there's always buyers out there who buy these options with a very small chance of getting hit, you are going to be the one who sells it to them because their low probability trade gives you a high probability trade. And the same also goes for puts. There's people who buy puts way below the market because they're lottery picks, right? I think the stock's going to go down, but it's got to go down $20 a share before I make any money. Or maybe they own the stock and they're just trying to protect their profits. That's cool. Listen, it doesn't matter why they're doing it. There's always going to be those buyers out there who buy these options. They need the seller. When you sell those options, you are getting a 60 to 90% probability of success right from the start of the trade. Now, the second mistake that buyers make is they choose expiration dates that are simply too close to the current date. It's like when you go to the grocery store and see a piece of steak on the discount rack. I actually did this last night. I don't like New York strips, technically, or I shouldn't say technically, but I went shopping after bowling last night and they had like a New York strip for half off. Well, it expired last night. Took it home, cooked it. It was a beautiful steak, nice marbling, everything. It was prime. I got it for half price because I took it home that night and ate it. It didn't rot. Options are very similar. Here's what you see what happens to the price of an option in relation to the number of days until expiration. Notice over 100 days, 180 days in the corner, it took 135 days, right where my arrow's pointing, and that option lost half of its value. But in the last 45 days in this section, it lost the remaining 50%. The decay of that option, the losing of its value, became exponential. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people buy their options in this final 45 days. Well, why do they buy them there if there's so little time left and those options are expiring and those options are losing their value exponentially? Well, it's because they're cheaper. It's like buying a lottery ticket. You're stacking the probability against you. So what we're going to do is we're going to sell options in that window instead. Now, to be more specific, our paycheck system sells most of our options between 21 and 45 days to expiration. That's our sweet spot. And you're going to hear that term a lot tonight, the sweet spot for doing things. Now, here's more of a pictorial example. This is Home Depot. Let's say you think Home Depot is going to go up, right? So you go out there, you buy a call that expires in like 6 weeks. Well, that's too close because even if the stock starts moving up, the value of the option is exponentially declining. Okay? Even if the stock goes up, all of the time of that option is losing. Okay? But again, this is a mistake that buyers make. We're not going to be the buyer anymore. We're going to be the seller. When we sell an option and it loses its value very quickly, that's how we make money. There's always going to be people out there buying options that have expiration dates too close. You may as well be the one who sells it to them, right? Let them be the gambler. You be the casino because you're always going to win in the end. Now, the third mistake buyers make is they pay too much. They buy what's called an overpriced option. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. You got two stocks. Both these stocks are basically the same price. They're within like 12 cents of each other, 76.24, 76.36. But if you went out there to buy a call on each of those stocks, the stock on the left, the call is $9.10. That means it's $910 for you to buy one call contract. Same expiration, same strike price, but if you bought the call on the stock on the right, it's only going to cost you $1.80 or 180 bucks to buy that option. Why is there such a huge difference in price of the options? Because the option on the left has extremely high implied volatility. When you have high implied volatility, the price of the option increases, right? Now, who cares? It's only money, right? It cost me 900 bucks versus 180, right? What's been expensive in the last year and a half other than everything? Eggs, right? Listen, if eggs are $8 a dozen or they're $3 a dozen, they still taste the same. Yeah, it irritates you that you have to pay $8 a dozen, but you go home, you cook them, you're annoyed at the price, but it's still an egg. Well, it's different though when you buy an option because it's not a matter of, well, it just costs me more money. That increased premium puts you behind the 8 ball. Okay? Let's pretend that both stocks go up $8 a share. Think about that. You bought 100 shares of each stock. The stock goes up $8. You made $800 in each stock. But you're an option trader, right? You buy calls because you want to use the leverage. You don't want to put as much money out. Here's what happens if you'd have bought the calls. Over on the left, you actually lost money. You got direction right, but you lost money on the trade. Over on the right, you made like 350% return. Same $8 move, same strike price, same stock price, same expiration. One trade wins, the other one doesn't. Why? Because they were too expensive. The buyer of that option on the left simply paid too much. There was too much volatility, and it made it very difficult to make money. That's a buyer's mistake. You know what we're going to do? We're going to find those options and sell them. I'm going to find those high volatility, expensive premiums, because the more the option is overpriced or expensive, the more money I can make, the more probability I can use in my trade, the least amount of risk that I have. We're going to find these expensive, overpriced options and sell them, because when we do, we can put more probability and we can stack it even higher. Now, Bob is one of the most interesting stories I've seen. He said prior to working with us, he was making a bunch of the mistakes we talk about here, and it cost him dearly. In fact, he said he either ended up broke or bankrupt 3 times, in his own words, came close to living under a bridge. The paycheck system helped him turn his situation around in as little as 4 months. He learned to turn those mistake liabilities into strategies to control and stack probability in his favor. He said in 4 months, he grew his account by 71%, and he had a 79% winning trade percentage. Remember, in order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. Now, let me ask you, have you made any of these buyer's mistakes before? Type a yes or a no in the chat box. You know, I told you guys early on I was a commodities trader and I really didn't like options. I made a lot of these mistakes, and they really turned me sour on options until I learned how to trade options correctly. And I've been trading options now for 15 years. So yeah, we've all made them. I see yes, 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 yes in the chat. Listen, it's not your fault. You're just taught a broken system, just like I was, or no system at all. Now, again, one of my jobs as a coach today is to help you make a few great decisions. If you're trading options to generate income, you can no longer make those common buyer's mistakes. Listen, even if you leave the webinar and don't become an option seller, promise yourself you'll stop making those common buyer mistakes. Now, whether you continue on with any of the courses or coaching we have at VectorVest, make that promise to yourself. So in the chat, type avoid if you'll avoid those buyer's mistakes. Just give me a quick avoid. Make that pledge. All right, Gerald, Rick, Julio, Hal. All right, it's reading a couple of the names that popped in there. Terry. Exactly. There are thousands of people out there who will continue to make these buyer's mistakes. You can't prevent them from doing it. But since they'll be doing it, you may as well know how to capitalize on it. If you want to generate consistent income with options, you simply need to take the other side of the trades. Now that you know that you want to be an option seller and you're going to avoid and capitalize on those common mistakes that buyers make, I want to take a look at how to trade with very little risk. And a lot of people, when they hear the word options, and especially the term selling options, they immediately think it's risky. It's because people just go out there and start selling options because, oh, it's a high probability trade, but they don't protect themselves. The options paycheck system uses a low risk strategy for selling options, which is why it's a core strategy we teach all of our retirees. Now, why is reducing risk so important? Because most people who don't use the options paycheck system, they're not preserving their capital. They have one bad trade wipe out all the gains from a bunch of winners. And when you suffer those large losses, it's so hard, it takes a long time to recover. But when you do it right with the right system in place, you're going to have a built-in protection plan. You're going to take care of risk management before you even open the trade. Because when you can confidently select stocks and you set up your trades in a way that reduces risk, it allows you to preserve and grow your capital. Like I said earlier, home runs look good, but singles are what win the games. Now, one of the most common questions I get asked is, can I trade options from my IRA? A client of ours, John, he grew his IRA by over 112% in 1 year using the options paycheck system. So the answer to can you use an IRA is yes. It's called a limited margin IRA. John had tried and struggled with trading for some time before working with us. He learned to follow the system and he turned those inconsistent results into predictable monthly income. In 12 months, he said he enjoyed 85% winning trades and more than double the size of his IRA while spending no more than 15 minutes per day on his trading. Now, the options paycheck system makes sure you reduce your risk before you even open the trade. First, we choose stocks that are low risk. We have a very specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks that are already rising in price, very similar to the graph you see here. Then, instead of selling an option naked, we sell with protection. So let me show you how to do this. Now, if traditional option selling systems that sell naked leave you with all of this risk down here, okay? If you sell an option, the stock takes a nosedive, you're going to get hit hard. But what we do is we reduce your risk to this amount right here. So let me show you how this works. This is a graph of a typical stock we'd be bullish on. It's a beautiful graph, so it's understandable to be bullish on a stock that looks like this. Now, traditionally, people would go out and buy the stock here, right? You're not going to do that anymore. Or maybe you're going to buy a call and use the stock price as a guide to your strike price, right? But here's what you're going to do. If you think that a stock is going to go up, you're going to go underneath the price of the stock and sell a put. So when you're bullish, you're going underneath the stock price and you're selling a put. When you sell the put, you get paid, right? You're selling something, so you get paid. Now, when you sell it, it's not like when you sell your car and you sign the title over. When you sell a put, you have an obligation. You're going to hold that position. It's going to go up in value. It's going to go down in value. Your hope is it goes down in value because you sold it, right? Now, if I sold 10 of these puts, I could make $2,000 on this trade. That's great. But if the stock has a massive drop, you could end up losing exponentially. You have no downside protection if the stock drops. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a built-in protection plan. You're going to buy a put a little bit lower as insurance. Buying that put has reduced your risk to that amount alone. That's it. That's all you can lose. Okay? Now that protection plan does cost something. To buy that protection, you're going to use a little bit, but not all of the money you receive from selling the put. So in this example, the insurance cost me $100. That's okay. When we sold the put, we received 200. We're going to use 100 of it to insure the trade. That means you're going to get paid $100 to place this trade. If you did it on 10 contracts, you're going to get paid $1,000. All right? Now, the beauty of this is this. What we've done is we've created a scenario where if the stock goes up, you're going to make money, right? The value of the options decline and you make money. If the stock goes sideways, the exact same thing happens. You still make money. It can even come down a little bit, but as long as it stays above 135, we can still make money. And if it drops below 135, we will exit the trade and take a small loss. Just like you would use a stop for any other trade that you make. Okay? Now, here's what I want to do. I want to show you a trade that I did with my clients. Every Monday, I run a coaching group, and we look and find trades. Okay? This is a trade I took in the last couple of months. Now, I'm going to show you some numbers here, so make sure you pay attention. First, I want to kind of set the tone. I trade in the direction of the market only. Okay? So right now, I think we can all agree that the market's bullish. I've been trading bullish since May. I haven't placed a bearish trade since before May. All bullish trades. Now, another tip for you. When I put my trade together, I want to pick an option that gives me at least a 60% probability of winning. All right? So I'll show you what I mean by this. This is DRI, Darden Restaurants. It's in an uptrend, right? This is back from May 12th. Stock's in an uptrend. Let's zoom on it a little bit closer. DRI is $203 a share. Okay? Now, to set this trade up, first and foremost, I'm going to go out, pick a monthly option that expires within 21 to 45 days. Happened to be the June option. It was about 30 days to expiration, right in that 21 to 45 degree sweet, or 21 to 45 day sweet spot. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my broker or in my software, okay, and I look at the probability of the puts. Every option strike price has a probability associated with it. So I'm going to go out to the June options. And if I look at the puts, I would look and see that the $200 put gives me a 55% probability of staying above that price for the next 30 days until expiration. What is that probability based on? It's based on the statistical and the historical movement of the stock. So if I went out there on this $203 stock and I sold a $200 put, that's going to give me a 55% chance of making money. If I went a little bit lower, down to 195, now I have a 64% chance of winning because there's a 64% statistical chance that the stock will stay above 195 for the next 30 days. If I go all the way down here to C, 185 bucks, I now have an 80% probability. And again, what this means is this. If it stays above 200 and I sell the $200 put, I make money. There's a 55% chance of that happening. B, 195, I have 64%. C, 185, I have 80%. Now, let me ask you in the chat, which one of these would you take? A, B, or C? What do you think? So in the next month, where do you think DRI won't drop below? A, B, or C? All right, I see lots of B's. I see some C's. Willis, Don, Terry, you guys are all at B. Venkash, you are at a C. Couple more people in C. Well, I'll tell you what my answer would be. If you just asked me, oh, I'd pick C. 80%. I mean, why not, right? 80%'s got to be good. All right. Now, the answer to this one is actually B, right? The answer is B. Let me explain why the answer is B here. Too much of anything typically is bad, right? They say drinking a glass of wine is good for you, but drinking 4 bottles, probably not so good. Drinking 64 ounces of water a day is good for you. Drinking 60 gallons, probably not so much, right? Well, probability is the same way. Probability is good, but too much probability is not so good. Here's what I mean by this. Now, when I place these trades, based on my account size, based on everything I do, I try to make it so when I do these trades, I make $750 if I'm right. Okay? So if I took each of these 2 trades, I would put them in a position to where I could make $750. It might mean I have to trade like 10 contracts up here, maybe 15 contracts down here of a different strike. It doesn't matter. My goal is to make $750. If I take the trade with a 64% probability, my loser should be around $750. So if I win, I make $750. If I lose $750. Okay? Now, on this trade, if I win, I make $750. But if I lose, what if I lose $4,000? Think about that. If you take 10 trades, right, and you win 80% of the trades, so you make $750 8 times, you're going to make $6,000 on your 8 winners. But then those 2 losers, you're going to lose $8,000. You gave up all 8 of your wins by taking 2 losses. Over here, that's not going to happen, right? Because your win and your loss are the same. So remember I told you we're going to have a sweet spot, 21 to 45 days. Our sweet spot of probability is in that 60% range. That's where we want the probability. That's going to give us a good probability to make money, and it's going to keep our risk under control. And that's what I want. Now, this trade, it's called a bull put spread. Bull because you're bullish. You think something's going to go up, so you do a bull trade on it. Puts because I'm trading puts. That's a 195 put. That's a 190 put. Spread because there's a $5 difference in price. That's a $5 spread on the stock. I'm selling 195, I'm buying 190. It's a $5 spread. Now, these trades, like we talked about, right, has a built-in protection plan. All that I've got to have for this trade to win is we simply just have to stay above 195. And we did. The stock went up immediately, not enough to get me profitable, came back down, and then went back up. It took 11 trading days, 12, I'm sorry, it took basically, 11 trading days for me to make money on this trade. And I made $712 on the trade. I go for 750, that's after commission. Okay? So 712 bucks. Took me 2 weeks to make that trade. So again, it's not a day trade or anything like that. It's something that you're going to do over the course of, 7 to 10 days typically. We generated a $712 paycheck in those 2 weeks. Now, another client I worked with is Jim. He said prior to working with me, he told me his results were very inconsistent and he felt unsatisfied. He kept thinking there had to be something else out there that was better. Have you ever felt that way? Like something is better out there? Jim said he wanted a way to supplement what he was doing and would provide more of a regular income with a higher probability of success. He said after learning the system of being an option seller, he had 21 winners in a row and he returned 76% in about 8 months. And his average trade only lasted 8 days. Can you imagine how that must feel to go from inconsistent to where all your trades are generating income? So the third shift I have for you is to make sure when you sell your options, you set your trades with low risk. The options paycheck system makes sure you have that guaranteed maximum risk. And it all goes back to whether you'd rather be the gambler or the casino, because keep in mind, the house always wins in the end. Being an option seller is the way that you can make that consistent income each month. It allows you to do it safer and with a higher probability of success than just simply going out there and buying and selling stocks. Now, today has been all about building a system to generate consistent income with options, regardless of what the market's doing. So let's put this together. I want to look at the 6-step paycheck system we use to generate income. And again, it's something you can do in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, my students who've implemented the system have told me this is really the most important thing they learned. Why? Because one of the biggest things people ask me is how much time is it going to take me? It's a great question. Well, there's a challenge to this. There's thousands of stocks out there. You got to be able to find how to pick the right stock. You got to use the right strategy. When do you get in? What expiration? What price? What strikes? What do you do if the trade goes against you? When do you get out? All that stuff, right? And sometimes it feels like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. There's so much information out there, you don't know where to look, what to use. You spend hours researching your trades. You go from guru to guru looking for advice. But without a system, you're trading blindly. It's like a mouse that runs through a maze bumping into all the walls. You don't know where to go. It's stressful. It's disheartening. But when you have the right system, you can identify those good trades, get reliable income in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, if you think you're too busy, remember, time is your most valuable resource. This system requires just 15 minutes a day, and it's designed to give you back control of your time and money. Imagine what you could do with that freedom. But again, to get it, you need a system, and not just any system. A straight line system, a really simple way to know when to place your trades, how to find them, how to set them up, and how to manage them. So let me walk you through the steps of the options paycheck system. Step number 1 is market direction. And a lot of traders ignore this. They just go out and start placing trades, bullish, bearish, whatever. You're going to be placing trades that are either bullish or bearish, not at the same time. So you have to have a way to know the market's direction. Now, today we focused on bullish trades. We've been doing bullish trades since May. Okay, so it's been a bullish market for a lot of this year. But you can do these trades when the market's going down, when it turns bearish as well. Now, by doing this, we're focusing and we're narrowing that focus. So instead of looking at everything, I'm only looking at one of 2 possible scenarios. Our paycheck system has a timing signal built in that we use to tell us the market's direction. Now, after you know the direction of the market, you want to select stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction. So just trading stocks that you know or listening to the gurus on TV, it's not really the best choice for this. What you want to do is find good stocks already in uptrends when the market's rising, bad stocks that are in downtrends when the market's falling. Okay? Our options paycheck system saves time in 2 ways. We look at 2 things, fundamentals and price trend. We have pre-built searches in our VectorVest platform we use. That way we're using that instead of digging through a bunch of the data the institutions throw at you. Now, once you have a list of stocks, you want a way to select the best ones for option trading. Earlier, we looked at how big of an effect volatility had on an options price. Now, we focus on selling options with volatility in the upper end of the range, but we don't stop there. To take more risk out of the trade, we filter out those with upcoming earnings because earnings is a big who knows what's going to happen. And we make sure the expiration date is in that sweet spot we talk about. Now, you can use tools from your broker to help. We happen to use a proprietary search tool which finds these options candidates in seconds. Now we got to set up your trade. We pick the one that has the highest probability of success based on the strike price. It's kind of like I showed you on Darden, right? But then we also have to make sure the trade has the proper balance of risk and reward. Now, before you place the trade, we got to know what to do if the trade goes for you or against you. I don't want you sitting in a trade feeling frozen like a deer in the headlights because you don't know what to do. Our options paycheck system has rules to take profits at predefined levels. You can set this up in advance with your broker. And if a trade goes against us, we have a simple adjustment strategy that brings in more income to minimize trades. We also know exactly when to exit a trade, and I set that up in advance with my broker, so it happens automatically and very unemotionally for me. And then last, it's time for trade execution. You want to be able to confidently place your trades with your broker. Now, our paycheck system does this by planning the trade in advance using limit orders that your broker takes. Now, earlier we talked about Mike, we talked about Jim. Each of them said they're getting the results in about 15 minutes a day, and so is Hugh. He told me one of his biggest struggles was finding a system that was efficient and worked. He said he sought the proper balance between trading and free time. He didn't have that proper work-life balance. Are you like that too? Do you spend too much time doing things you don't want to do and not enough time doing the things you want to? Now that Hugh learned the options paycheck system of selling options, he said he has more confidence, more free time, and he's able to have more fun. His first 43 trades, he said he had 38 winners with $26,000 in profits in 4 months. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your pen, put a little star next to the part of your system where you're good. So, for example, if you have a quick way to find a list of stocks likely to go in the direction of the market, put a little star there. But if there's an area where something isn't working or maybe you need a little work, put a frowny face there. So, for example, if you don't know how to manage or repair a trade, put a frown there. Don't overthink it. Take about 10 seconds and give yourself a star or frown. Now, I'm willing to bet maybe 1 in 100 investors will ever know how to do this. So let me ask you, in the chat, let me know, what areas do you need to work on? Just kind of curious to see where you are in the grand scheme of having a good options income plan in place. All right, Willis, step 5. Option selection, George, 4, 5, and 6, Terry. Gail, stock selection. All right. Step 6, Rick. Mike, step 4 and 5 and 6. All right. So again, I'm just reading a couple of the answers. They fly by, so sometimes it's hard for me to see them all. But here's the thing. In order to get this to a point where you can consistently generate income, we got to get stars all the way down. Okay? Now listen, I can't know your exact reason to coming to today's webinar, but I'm going to make a few guesses. Maybe you haven't really known what to do and you feel like you've been trading blindly, bumping from one wall into the next. It's left you with inconsistent results. You make some money, but then you give it all back on your next trade. Just like Jim did before he learned the options paycheck system. Maybe you've been suffering through loss after loss, and those small losses are killing your portfolio. Maybe the money coming in isn't exceeding the money going out. Maybe you're just not where you want to be. And today I showed you the secret to fixing that. And it's a secret I bet only 1 in 100 investors will ever know. And now you're one of them. You saw it's possible to win even if you're wrong. And that you can do it with very little risk, even less risk than buying and selling stocks. You saw the system to get consistent income every month. I showed you just a few of the many, many people who use the system every day so they never have to worry about retirement again. You saw over and over the secret to generating consistent income is that shift from being the gambler to being the casino. Remember, you're going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows that secret. That means there's 99 other investors out there who will continue to do things wrong. They'll be buying options, making all the mistakes we talk about it. Can't stop them from doing it. There's always going to be those investors out there who buy options incorrectly. Let them be the gamblers. As long as there will be the gamblers out there, you might as well be the casino. Because remember the old saying? The house always wins in the end. The options paycheck system teaches you how to stack the probability of success in your favor. Just like Brian did, and Bruce, and Bob and Jim and Hugh and John. So now you've seen how the system works. You've heard how others just like you've achieved that financial success. Now the question is no longer can it work? It's are you ready to make it work for you? So let me walk you through how you can get started. And it starts with a choice. Option number one is to choose to do nothing and stay where you are right now. And if you already have enough money to retire and you're not really worried about running out of money, maybe you don't need the option paycheck system. But if you'd like to make some extra income every month, that leaves you with two other options. Option two is you can do it alone. You could try to learn how the option trades work, try to figure out the direction of the market, learn how to analyze the thousands of stocks, try to find the best one to trade, hope you pick the right one, manage it correctly. Listen, if you're willing to work hard, spend hours in front of your computer, and you're willing to learn by trial and error, you might be able to pull it off. But option three is just to let us guide you through it. I'll walk you through each piece of the options paycheck system. And in just a few weeks, you're going to have a simple system to follow that doesn't take a lot of time. Now, of those three options, ask yourself what's going to be easier for you. You know, there's two types of people. Person number one is someone who dreams about their financial goals, but they never take action or do anything to make it happen. Person number two is someone who's serious about their financial future. You're ready to take action when you see a good opportunity in front of you. You know, the real risk isn't trying something new. It's doing nothing and staying stuck. The market won't wait. The expenses never stop. Every month you delay could be another month of missed opportunity to grow your wealth. So let me tell you what we put together for you. The Options Paycheck Experience is the most comprehensive program for generating consistent income spreads using options. Okay? The Options Paycheck Experience is the only implementation program of its kind that teaches the secrets of generating consistent income with options. We show you how to find, set up, manage, and place option spreads. You're going to learn to do this on your own to generate income, how to do it safely and consistently, whether the market's bullish or bearish. You'll never have the fear of running out of money. Now, we only open registration a few times a year, so if you're serious about building that consistent income, now's your chance to join a proven system that works. Now, after going through the experience, you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work. You're going to know all the fancy terms, so you no longer have the fear of options. You're going to get clear signals telling you whether to place bullish or bearish trades and when not to place trades. You're going to be able to quickly identify the stocks that are the best candidates. Now, we're going to have a rules-based approach. This is going to free up a lot of time. You're going to be able to set up income trades that give you a 60+% success rate. You're going to have a trade management game plan in place prior to placing your trade, so you know exactly how to handle any situation the market throws at you. You're going to be able to confidently enter and exit trades with your broker like a pro, whether it's your first trade or your 500th trade. You're going to implement a system to safely and consistently generate income. That way you can live that lifestyle you want without that fear of running out of money. Now, the course is 8 modules long, and we made them so each module builds on the one prior. Now, the first 2 lay the foundation, and then the other 6 teach you this 6-step system, step by step. So by the time you're done, you got that system for consistent income. Okay? The first 2 modules, we call these the option income foundation. A lot of people try to build a successful income portfolio, but they base the portfolio on a weak foundation of knowledge. We totally understand what it's like to learn options. We've been there. That's why it pays to learn from a team who's gone through this before. The outcome you're going to get from module 1 is you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work so you can confidently use them in your trades. You're going to know which terms to pay attention to, what you can ignore. That way you don't waste time or get frustrated. In module 2, you're going to learn what a spread is and how it works. You're going to be filled with confidence to start building the income systems around that powerful new trade. Now that you've got that foundation of options knowledge, we're going to lay out that step-by-step system to placing the trade. That way you're going to be able to generate your options paychecks. Each step along the way, we stack probability in your favor and we reduce risk. So it all starts with knowing when to trade. Here, you're going to get complete clarity on market trends. So instead of looking at all the possible trades, we're going to narrow our focus. You're going to know whether to place bullish trades, bearish trades, or to sit the market out. Now you know the direction of the market. We're going to find stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction. This is going to stack even more probability in your favor. And the outcome here is you'll know how to find the best trades quickly, whether it's a stock or index, that's going to give you the highest probability of success. Now that you got your list of stocks, it's time to narrow it down to the best option candidates. This is going to give you the highest probability for profits. By using the rules in this module, you'll make sure you're getting paid top dollar for your trade, making it so you can make money even if the stock goes nowhere. In 6, we're going to continue to stack probability and reduce risk by the way you set your trade up. You're going to make sure that the trade has the perfect combination of risk reward by setting your strikes perfectly. Great trades don't happen by accident. They happen because you plan them and you strategically set them up right from the start. Now that you got your trade picked out, you're ready to go. Module 7, you're going to have your plan in place so you know when to exit the trade, not only to take profits, but to minimize losses. You will never again be frozen like a deer in the headlights. No matter what the market throws at you, you're going to know how to react. That's going to allow you to trade completely stress-free. And now that you got your best stock picked out, you got that low risk, high probability option trade, you mapped out your management plan, now it's time to place the trade. This is going to break down the trade execution phase into simple, repeatable steps. You're going to be able to commit this to muscle memory in no time. And like a lot of people, something new can take a little bit of time to learn. So we also put together this trade planning checklist and spreadsheet. Everything you need to do is in this checklist and spreadsheet. That way you don't miss a step. So when you're first starting out, you've got something to guide you to make sure you're doing it right off the bat. That way you have the confidence you're doing everything correct. Plus, we know placing trades with brokers can be intimidating. So I happen to use Schwab's Thinkorswim. I put together step-by-step directions for Schwab's Thinkorswim. I also have some helpful videos for things like Fidelity and IB and E-Trade. Okay? Now, before we talk about the low price of the course, I want to make this even more low risk for you. I call this a risk-free trade because I offer a 100% money back guarantee on the course. You can go through the course, and if you're not satisfied we taught you how to profit using options, just notify us within a week of the finish of the live curriculum, and you can get your money back. It's completely risk-free. The only thing that we ask is that you actually do the course. That's it. Not very hard, right? You signed up for it. At least do it. And if you're not happy, then we can refund your money. And the reason I put together a policy like that is because, listen, I want to attract people who are going to do this with me. Those that, are going to do the course get the best results. So I don't want you to buy the course, ignore it, and then say, I didn't have time for it. I want you to do it. I want you to experience it because I know if you put the time and effort in, you'll be successful. And remember, you're learning a system here that has averaged 3% per month. It's 36% per year. Over the 9 years I've been doing this here at VectorVest. It doesn't take a lot of time to do this. Now, I received this email from a client who took the course. Ron, I'm writing to thank you for teaching the options paycheck course. I took your class last fall and wanted you to know my results for the 10 plus months. I keep a journal to document every trade. And so far, I've profited on 239 trades out of the 350 I've taken, a 68% winning rate. I've profited over 100 grand in this time. What's more exciting is that since my knowledge and experience have grown in taking really good risk reward trades, I've profited over 50,000 in the last 6 weeks. My success rate has been 78% over my last 100 trades, and I only take trades with 2 to 1 or better risk reward. Thank you for teaching this simple but effective system. Now, a couple things about this email. Joe trades a lot more than I do. In 2025, I've placed, I think, 70 stock trades. I trade about 10 to 15 trades a month between stocks and the S&P. So in a given year, I might trade 175 trades, 150. Joe's placed 350 in 10 months. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to put more time and effort into it, thumbs up from this guy, right? But you don't have to. You can take as little as 1 trade a week and do this. Or you can do like Joe did, a lot of them. Okay? But if I had told Joe I'd give him 100 grand in exchange for his 2,000, think he'd take that trade? Well, I got a great trade for you as well here coming soon. Now, before I tell you more about it, I want to point something out. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not something where you should expect to become a millionaire in the next 24 hours. It's serious, requires some effort. So if you're not going to commit to it, then don't do it. It's not for you. It's for serious people who take their investing seriously and are willing to put in the time to learn the system. So if you're serious about this, you're ready to do the work and get the results, then the options paycheck experience is perfect. Step-by-step training to go from option basics to a full complete income generating system. Just these training modules alone are worth the price of the course, but we got some great bonuses we put together for you today as well. The first bonus, we call this the Mastery Package. And the Mastery Package includes week by week live mastery sessions. You're gonna learn the material by watching a pre-recorded class. Then twice a week, we're gonna open up a live classroom where we're gonna discuss with you module by module. Then on Friday, I also have an open Q&A where we can discuss any leftover questions. 3 sessions a week of live during the live curriculum. Okay. We also have a dedicated private email. I'm also going to give you access to both VectorVest and Options Pro if you don't have it. through the live curriculum. So you'll have access to that software in basically August and September. That way you can test drive the tools if you want to continue to use them, great. If not, it's okay, you don't need them, but we're going to give you the tools we use as well. Now, we want to make sure that you're ready to place your first trade in the shortest time possible. So to do that, we're going to let you into our coaching sessions for implementation month. During these implementation sessions, you're going to watch me find, select, set up, and place trades in real time with my account. Plus, I'll show you how I manage my existing trades. It's a huge bonus. You're going to see the paycheck system in action. You can follow along in your own trading account if you want to. I'm also going to hold live office hours twice a week. Okay, this is another session to where we're going to put trades together. You're going to see me practice over and over again how to implement and use the system. Our past students have said this is the best thing that they did because the repetition really helped cement the concepts for them. Now, if you're worried that trading stocks and going through all that's going to be a little bit difficult, I have a lot of my students just start with my SPX paycheck system. It's up about, I think it's like up 18 to 20% this year. I'd have to go double check my numbers. This is one trade a week. You place it any day you want. It takes like 15 minutes. It's on one symbol, one setup, one profit, one stop rule. And we do this with a live trading session. My teammate Brian, he taught this to his 14-year-old daughter at the time. She had a little spiral notebook she took notes in. Okay? For many of my students, this is how they start. It's the only system they use. Now, with a recap, you're going to get the complete options paycheck trading system. That's 8 training modules, videos, checklists, cheat sheets, everything that you need. The bonus mastery package, the implementation month, and the SPX paycheck. Okay? The total value of the offer is $54.75. But since you've spent about an hour with me, here's the opportunity. I'm going to roll up my sleeves. We're with a couple hundred people who are serious about generating income. And if you choose to be one of them, we're going to create an income system in your portfolio. The early bird price of the course is $12.95, but if you order before the end of the webinar today, instead of paying that $12.95, we have a special price for $9.95. You're going to get the full course. You're going to get the mastery package, implementation month, August and September of using our tools, VectorVest and Options Pro, all for that $9.95. But that's only available while we're on the live webinar. Once we finish up, it goes back to $12.95. So to take advantage of that, go to optionspaycheck.com. Okay? Now ask yourself, what's it going to cost you not to do this? How much money are you going to lose out by trying to learn by trial and error? How much profit are you going to miss out on? How much time and energy are you going to spend trying to do it on your own? And then ask yourself, how would things be different if you did it and it worked? This isn't a cost. You know, in my economics class, they call this an opportunity cost, right? This is an investment in your future. You know, there's a saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, so you can be sitting under it now enjoying the shade. Do you know when the second best time is? It's today. It's not too late to begin to prepare yourself for retirement and learn to generate income. This is going to be one of those deciding days in your life. Are you going to take action, set yourself up for that secure retirement? Or is it going to be the day you look back and say, man, I could have started this in August? Okay? Don't delay. Start it today. It's no risk. If you don't like it, if you don't think it's going to work after August and September, we have that money back guarantee. You know, many of my students tell me they wish they'd started this sooner. Don't look back after a year and say, what if? Okay? This is your chance to change your financial trajectory. Get started, it's $9.95. Okay? So this is the lowest price that we offer the Options Paycheck experience if you've never taken it before. Just go to optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered for $9.95. And again, this price goes back up to $12.95 after the live curriculum today. All right? Once you register, you're going to get email access. You're going to be able to access right away the materials. The only thing you won't have access to right away is Options Pro and VectorVest. That starts in August with the live curriculum, but you're going to be able to start looking at the modules tonight if you want to. Okay? Now, before I break into the official Q&A, I do want to cover a couple things, some of the most common questions I get. We talked about August, September, so let me go over when the live sessions are. Now, first, how's the class work? Here's how the class works. The modules themselves are pre-recorded. You're going to watch those on your own time. Then, starting the first week of August, on the 5th, we're going to do a live welcome session. That's actually next week already. Well, it's crazy it's going to start so soon. We're going to do a welcome session on the 5th. That's basically just welcome to the class. Here's the stuff. Here's where everything is. Here's what we expect from you. Here's what you should expect from us. Then on Wednesday at 4:30, we're going to get together and discuss Module 1. I want you by Wednesday of next week to watch Module 1. We're going to meet together. We're going to discuss it. We're going to go over the key principles. We'll do the quizzes together. We'll do some assignments together, answer any questions you have about Module 1. Then on Thursday, we're going to come back and do Module 2. Okay? You watch the module beforehand, then you come to the mastery session. Now, if you can't come to the live classes, it's not a big deal. We record everything. You'll be able to see the recordings of all of these classes within 24 hours of the end of the live session. Then on Friday at noon, we have an open Q&A. We have no preset agenda. You come in there, you ask us questions, we cover the topics of the week. And then what we want you to do through the month of August, 2 modules a week. So by the end of August, you've gone through all 8 modules with us. You've done all the Q&As. That way you're ready for September. September is our implementation month. Starting on Tuesday, we're going to do our first SPX and stock trades with you. We have office hours Wednesday after the market closes. On the Wednesday class, and then the following Tuesdays, those are after the market closes, I will teach you how to find trades at night so you can place them for the next market day. Friday at noon, I will teach you how to find trades again in real time. So as you can see, through the month of September, 11 a.m. on Monday, 2 p.m. on Monday for stocks, we are going to go through this live with you. I'll be placing live trades. I did that today. At 11 a.m., I placed my bull put trade on the SPX. At 2 p.m., I found 2 stock trades I wanted to take. So we did some trading at 2, did some at 11. Okay? You can take the trades with me, you can watch, but the repetition is going to be perfect for you. And again, if you can't view the live curriculum, it's not a big deal. You can watch the recordings within 24 hours. Greg recently graduated from the class and he said, prior to the course, I struggled with knowing how to protect myself when the market was moving away from me, and I feared if I didn't fix it, I'd lose more of my portfolio than I could afford to lose. After taking the options paycheck, I feel better prepared to trade and much more confident. In the first month, I made $10,200 from my options income trading, 9 winners and 1 loser. I would absolutely recommend this course. It was well done, very educational and informative. It's an excellent educational opportunity that I'm thankful I took advantage of. Don't let fear hold you back. You're going to make more in the first month than you paid to take the course. I was one of those fence sitters who didn't take the course for a long time when I saw it offered. I lost a lot by not taking the program sooner. I'm grateful and appreciate the work that was put into making this training program available. Now, before we go into the last details here, I want to be upfront with you. We've helped thousands of people use options to generate consistent income, but this course isn't for everyone. It's actually why we've been able to get such great results with our students. We're very selective, and we ask you to be too. We don't want to sell to everyone. We want to help the right people succeed. That's how we get real results. So here's what we found over the years. The people who succeed in this program share a few things in common. They've got some basic options experience. If you've bought or sold a call put before, you're good. If you've never touched options, we recommend starting with one of our simple courses like the Options Jumpstarter. Those who succeed have at least $10,000 available for trading. Not $10,000 total. $10,000 that you can actually dedicate to the strategy. If that's your entire account, it's probably not the best case to start. Your brokerage account has the ability to trade these, level 3 typically. You want to be able to make sure you can trade bull puts and bear calls. So make sure you set that up with your broker first. And then finally, you're coachable. You don't get into class and you simply try to constantly outsmart the system. You follow the plan because that's where the results come from. You know, in 10 years of doing this, I've never had a comment come in where I've said, oh my gosh, I've never thought of that. Trust me, I've been doing this a long time. Okay? This system is in place. I have thought of every variable. Okay? Follow the system. Don't try to outsmart it. Seriously. Now, if you check those boxes, you're in the right place. This is fine. You're going to be one of the most valuable investments you make in your financial future. And listen, if not, that's okay too. It just means that maybe it isn't your time yet. We'd rather help 100 people succeed than sell to 1,000 people who aren't ready. We work with the right people at the right time. That's why we have such a high success rate. Folks like this. Cheryl, I've surpassed my expectations. I don't need the money back guarantee. I tripled my investment. Frank, after taking the course, I have a profit of $7,300. Before the course, it was a crapshoot. Now I believe in the options trades I'm doing. Cam said he made back the initial investment so many times over, even though it's a small part of his portfolio, it's probably the most profitable. Jake says he finally found a method of making consistent winning trades with high probability of success. A few more of our more recent students. Neville said, thanks for a wonderful course. Within a short time, you've opened our eyes to many things. Your experience, enthusiasm, and your desire comes through easily. You put a lot of thought in the training manual. I've already paid for the tuition with a few Delta 35 SPX trades. David says the options paycheck experience is by far the best course I've ever attended all my years of VectorVest since 99. You've eliminated my fear of trading options. The manner in which you present the material is truly outstanding. Waleed said the course helps people like me develop self-confidence. If you have fears about options trading, you definitely need the course. Since the start of the course, I've done a few SPX trades with 19 wins, 12 losses, and $5,700. Now, here's the dream. The dream is consistent income and that financial freedom. What's the risk? It's virtually none thanks to what we put together with the options paycheck system. The time, 15 minutes a day. The effort, we give you everything step by step. This is your moment. You've seen the results, you know the potential. Now take action. Don't let fear hold you back. Commit to your future. Let us teach you how the options paycheck system can make this possible. So go to optionspaycheck.com right now. Get yourself signed up for that $9.95 price. Remember, this is the lowest you'll see it if you've never taken the options paycheck course before. If you have taken the options paycheck course before and you'd like a refresher, we actually have a $4.95 refresher rate that you can sign up for. And my colleagues will give you the link. Just let me know that you've taken the course before and you're interested in doing it. You can take the course again. Okay. Now, after the live webinar, the price will go back up to $12.95, and registration closes next Tuesday on August 5th. So again, if you know what's right for you, get out there, go to optionspaycheck.com, get yourself signed up now. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring my colleague in, Steve. We're going to do a Q&A. If you have any questions left over, I know those guys pretty much do a lot of the questions in the background, so we can answer any remaining questions that you might have.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Ron. That was a very great, awesome presentation as always.
Thank you.
I love working with you, man. You make things so easy. So that's always a good thing. Hey, look, the number one thing that I realized during this webcast, we have a busy September, you and I.
Yeah.
Holy moly. All right, but anyway, back to, kind of brass tacks here just for a moment. Guys, one of the things, just share, by the way, my name's Steve Chappell, Director of Trading System Development here at VectorVest. I've been with VectorVest now 24 years. I've seen an awful lot of options coaches over my time here through trading expos and just working with them one-on-one and, all of these kinds of things. And I got to be honest, Ron is really, really good instructor, man. It's hard to ever say anybody's absolutely the best. You know how those things go. But you're in great hands with Ron if you decide to do this. I definitely give him my stamp of approval. He wouldn't be working here if we didn't like him.
Thanks.
But one of the things that I love about this course, is the way that he's broken it up. It's really done very, very nicely. It's in very small chunks. You can do this at your own pace. We obviously have a curriculum and a set agenda and everything, but look, life gets busy. Just know that we're always going to be there for you. We're an email away, and we will make sure that you get through the content that you need to get through. One of the other thing I really love about this course, the way it's laid out, is the repetition. So, I mean, it almost becomes like muscle memory by the time you get through the last week. You cannot help but do it correctly because we go through it so many times. So from start to finish, and we do some live trading, you get to see it, and that's where things really come together. I'm super excited for those of you. I see a lot of people that already said that they're going to be joining us, Ron, which is super good. And I'm very excited for those folks because this, if you put your mind to this, we can show, Ron is going to show you how to do it. And, you'll be successful. The only thing Ron and I can never do is make you want it. But like, if you want it, it will happen. You've got to do the want it piece. I want to do this. So anyway, that's me bantering on here for a second. Ron, did we talk about the SPX special bonus trade?
We
Which
did.
is a great way to start.
Absolutely. And it is a good place to start. So the SPX, basically what it does, it boils everything that we do down into really one trade. And the cool thing about that trade is, listen, first off, I would tell you this. If you're going to do the SPX trade at the start, and a lot of people do this, it's right there in the bonus section of the university site that you're going to get access to. As long as you are willing to follow directions, you're going to be good. And, normally I don't show this kind of stuff. I don't want to like baffle you with numbers or anything, but I keep a spreadsheet of all of the trades I make every year. Okay, you're going to get access to this spreadsheet, by the way. So this is my SPX trades for the year. I have placed 31 SPX trades this year. You see, I place one every single week. And this right here is my running profit loss. So I'm up 20.6% With a $50,000 account, I'm up $10,000 this year on my SPX trades. This is one trade a week that you can do. That's it. It takes you 15 minutes. It's up 20% this year. That's, again, these are trades that you see me do live every Monday. I actually did this trade this morning with my class. You can see it's not closed yet. I don't have any profits there. That's because I just took the trade. But that alone is up 20%. It's a trade that you can jump in and get started with in like 15 minutes. It's that good.
Yeah, and it can absorb any of the liquidity that you could possibly dream up.
Yep.
Which is huge. Guys, real quick, the refresher rate. If you're an alumni and for whatever reason life got too busy for you or whatever the case might be, and you wanted to retake this course, it's only $495. We have had a few people ask that. Odds are then there's probably a few more that may be interested in that for one reason or another. $495 to retake it is ridiculous. So it's a great deal. And you could certainly think about that. And other than that, Ron, I'm just going to let you close this thing up the way you see fit.
All right, awesome. So again, thank you, Steve. And like I said, if you're kind of interested, I'll just show you a quick summary of my stock trades this year, just because I always like to show you guys the current numbers. Take a look at what I did. So I've done 76 stock trades this year. I've won 46, lost 30, 60%. My average winning trade is 742. My average losing trade is 730. My average trade time is 9.6 days, and I'm up about 12% for the year so far. So again, 12% up a year on stocks, 20% up for the year on the S&P. I've been doing this now here at VectorVest for, like I said, almost 10 years. I've been at VectorVest for 10 years. I launched the coaching a year into it. This is something that I've seen the most degree of success with in my entire trading career. I've taught people how to trade commodities. I've taught Fibonacci. I've taught Gann. I've taught technical analysis. This is by far the easiest thing I've ever taught. It's one of the things that everybody can do, and we've had great success with it. And again, if you don't like it, it's cool. We have a money back guarantee. After the end of the class in September, if you don't think it worked for you, we got that money back guarantee. It's a no risk trade. So it starts next week. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you. Sign up, give it a shot. Like I said, what's the risk? There's no risk. You're going to learn a good way to create income with options. Okay? All right. With that, I want to thank all of you for spending this last hour and 20 minutes or so with me. I appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to working with you starting next week in our options paycheck experience. So thanks again, everybody. I appreciate it and hope to see you again next week. Take care, everyone.